Aquarists can say they've never made a mistake in their fish keeping experiences, but in reality, of course, all of us have made mistakes during our time in this hobby. If only we knew then what we know now. As with so many things in life, it's whether we learn from our mistakes that will determine how successful we will be. Granted, the mistakes we all make can be frustrating, as is evident in the statistics and studies showing that a large percentage of hobbyists quit soon after beginning, some even within a month. If you are a newcomer to this wonderful hobby, try not to be discouraged, and most of all, do not give up. I promise that no matter how frustrating or difficult fish keeping may seem at the moment, if you learn from your mistakes, you will truly find this hobby rewarding. On the other hand, there's another philosophy we can apply here: learn from the mistakes of others. And in this video, I've created a list of 7 of the more common mistakes made in the hobby. Number 1. Overfeeding your fish. Our fish would have us believe they are starving to death the way they endlessly beg for more food. Overfeeding our fish, however, is a serious concern and a mistake we definitely want to avoid. It can be directly harmful both to the health of the fish and the quality of the water they live in, which will also negatively affect their health. The effect that overfeeding has on the quality of the water in your aquarium may not be obvious. All that uneaten food or additional waste produced from overfeeding will be broken down into ammonia and nitrite, both of which are extremely toxic to fish. As uneaten food decays, it can also cause a variety of other problems, including cloudy water, algae blooms, even low pH and oxygen levels in your tank. When I used to work in a pet store, many beginners would come into the store complaining that their tank was full of small worms. Right away, without even asking any questions, I knew this person was more than likely overfeeding the fish. The little flatworms they saw are known as planaria. And though these worms are generally harmless, they are an indicator that water quality is not optimal and that the fish are being overfed. Number 2. Mixing incompatible fish. Mixing incompatible fish is a big mistake, with potentially deadly results. Beginners are often unaware that many fish have very different needs and do not belong in the same tank. Some pet store personnel will explain this, but not all. For example, when a small juvenile becomes larger, it will eat fish that remain smaller, such as neon tetras. And this is by no means our only concern when selecting potential tank mates. We have to be aware of temperament, environmental needs and dietary requirements. A common mistake is not learning how large fish will grow, which may result in predation, as noted above, but can also result in a bioload problem as fish become too large for the tank. Even with similarly sized fish, we need to learn about their temperaments. Some small fish, such as tiger barbs, are fin nippers and should not be mixed with fish that have long fins. By learning about our fish, we can discover that certain species need to be kept in schools with their own kind. Other fish require large territories, and having a tank that's an appropriate size goes a long way in maintaining a peaceful community. Another concern with certain fish is having too many males in the same tank, which will lead to fighting. Many of these problems can be minimized or eliminated by doing research ahead of time. Number 3. Buying the aquarium and fish on the same day. One of the hardest tasks in my days spent in the pet retail business was trying to help new customers understand that it was not in their best interest to buy a new aquarium and fish on the same day. You can probably imagine how difficult this was, especially when anxious children were involved. In fact, more than a few customers would have us catch the fish they wanted, bag them up and then catch us completely off guard by asking what tank would be best for them. Buying an aquarium and fish on the same day is simply not the best course of action. You are just asking for trouble and are most likely setting yourself up for failure. This is perhaps one of the biggest reasons that many new hobbyists give up. They have unknowingly made it almost impossible for themselves to succeed. Part of the blame can be placed on a few unscrupulous pet stores that just want to make the quick sale. However, ultimately it is up to each individual hobbyist to educate his or herself so that this mistake is not made. And also so the hobbyist understands the reasons for not buying an aquarium and fish on the same day. A person who wants to buy a tank and fish at the same time is normally new to the hobby. Most likely, this person is not familiar with the necessary equipment for aquariums, nor how to set them up or how they operate. It is best to allow time to become familiar with how the filter, heater, air pumps, lighting system and other equipment works. In this way, you can make sure everything is functioning properly. The water parameters are stable and that there are no leaks. Number 4. Buying a small aquarium. A common myth among beginner aquarists is that a smaller tank is easier to maintain than a larger one. This can be true, to an extent. Larger tanks are more expensive, harder to clean, and require a more complex setup process. Smaller tanks, however, aren't exactly easier than larger ones. Because of their lower water quantity, any changes to a small tank can quickly alter its condition, causing your fish to become sick. Larger tanks have the added benefit of being easier to monitor when sudden changes happen. For beginners, we recommend purchasing a tank between 30 to 60 gallons in size. If you intend to purchase fish that are meant for larger aquariums, be sure to purchase the correct size tank. Number 5. Adding too many fish in a tank. Imagine being stuck in a box with a group of people unable to move around. That's almost exactly what happens when you keep too many fish in one tank. And unfortunately, it's a mistake many beginners make with their new aquariums. Too many fish can cause problems to your tank's filtration system due to higher ammonia production. This can make maintaining your aquarium's chemical and temperature levels an absolute nightmare. Your tank may also have reduced oxygen levels, making it harder for your little swimmers to breathe in their crowded home. Other problems with keeping too many fish include more algae, possible aggression between fish, and high nitrate levels leading to sick fish. So, rule of thumb, if you wouldn't live in a crowded house, your fish shouldn't either. And those are all 5 common mistakes when starting a new aquarium of beginner. We hope you can get a lot of useful information to start the journey to build your own tank. Thank you for watching. If you find the video good, don't hesitate to leave us a like, subscribe and comment below. They are completely free, and this will be the best way for you to support us to continue making more videos.